Okay, Dipal, take us back to the start of the year, early 2023. What were the series of moments that led to your trigger moment to kickstart your RNT journey?
Oh gosh. Well, there's certain things in life that you definitely don't forget. And this was definitely one of them. I was always trying different things. Some were diets, different diet plans, cosmetic procedures, doing body wraps, lathering myself up with creams, exercising 2 hours or more a day, just spending so much time, effort, and money, and really trying to take the easy way out because I didn't want to change my eating habits, but nothing worked. And even when I ate healthy, and I look back at that, was I really eating healthy? And now when I look back at those moments, I'm like, oh, wow, I wasn't even feeding myself and I wasn't eating enough. I was always like in this conflict with the information that was out there. And I'm sure that's a lot of people that can resonate with that because there is a lot of information about dieting and there's so much information about food, what foods are good for you, what foods are bad for you. For example, like tofu, right? And sweeteners. We have so much in our minds about what tofu is and how it affects us, especially women, and sweeteners, how we should stay away from these things. But we really don't know the science behind it. And so little did I really know about food until I started the RNT program because it's amazing how much information and blog posts and articles are there in the RNT program that can help you take away these beliefs about certain foods that you might have because there's so much scientific evidence in there. But all my life, all I wanted to do was look fit, lean, healthy, and especially now because I'm on camera a lot. And I had a certain physique in mind all my life, but I was never able to achieve it until now. And I used to tell myself these things that, okay, one day it'll happen for me. I'll start tomorrow. I'll start after this vacation. I'll go on a diet. I'll start eating healthy. I'll start working out. And especially when New Year's came around, right? At the end of the year, I'd always make a goal. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna work out every day or do something, right? But I remember always just watching other women and pointing out how wonderful they looked and how fit they were. And I really wish that I could do that for myself. I just didn't know how. And that's the biggest problem, right? Like I didn't know how. I really thought it was something unattainable for me. And I had convinced myself that one day, just not today. And today never came for 47 years. It actually came and went, but it was never consistent, let's just say. All my life, I was just too skinny and I was made fun of by everyone. So my looks always impacted how I felt about myself. And like I said, I tried many avenues in my life, but always failed. And it's definitely scary because, I knew it required, like taking this next step required a lot. And that's what I thought going into it. Before I even signed up, I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much I'm going to have to do and really commit to this. Because if I take anything on in my life, I've always committed 100%.
Mm.
And I've never done anything like this before. So again, we're getting out of our comfort zone, right? And that's scary. So I felt like I knew it required something that I had never done before. And that one thing that really scared me was accountability. Knowing that I'm accountable, like somebody's watching over me. I'm 48 years old and somebody's watching over me and I have to report to them. That just felt kind of odd, right? I thought I was done and over with that, right? With my parents. But then I'm like, okay, well, this is different, right? They're helping me. Like I had to change my whole mindset around it as I was thinking about the program. Okay.
Mm.
Before I even signed up, like these are all the thoughts that were going through my mind. And so once I wrapped my head around that, I thought that I could do it on my own. And so I tried it a little bit because my husband was going through the program and my brother went through the program. And so in April, right before I signed up, in April, I tried to do it myself. And I lost about 4 pounds in the process, but never really knew if I was doing the right thing. And I would tell my husband all the time, I'm like, every single day we'd have these conversations. I'm like, I don't understand. Am I taking in the right calories? Like I would go from 900 to 1400 because all these different apps out there would tell me different things. And so that just bothered me like crazy because again, when I do something, I like to follow it to the T and there should be no guesswork, right? And there are many apps out there that calculate how many calories you should take in, how many macros, but it wasn't working because I got to 4 pounds and then I had no idea what the heck I was doing. So leading up to the trigger moment, my husband, daughter, and I went to Punta Cana back in March. And I kept being drawn to these testimonials of other Indian women and resonating with their body type because I'd look at the pictures and I'm like, yeah, that's me. Yeah, that looks like me, and it really just even the picture really, really had a huge impact. And then reading their stories was even greater. Like it was really nudging me to take that step forward. And it was important to me to see and read about these Indian women because if these women can take charge of their health, because I feel like in our culture, after a certain age, women don't take care of themselves. And so for me, that really struck as something big. And that's why I was going towards their testimonials. I was attracted to their testimonials. And so when I got home, after talking to my husband and reading all these testimonials, I made the appointment and to have a consultation. And the coach was like, did you need, did you have any questions? I'm like, no, I just want to sign up because I'm just ready. I'm ready to sign up. I'm ready to take the next step. How do I pay? I didn't want to know anything else. And that was my trigger moment, like going to Punta Cana and really just reading all these things and really looking at my past and everything that I've done in the past and where I want to go.
Wow. Tell me some of the craziest things you've done, because you mentioned at the beginning, you've been trying creams all over your body.
Yes.
I just want to double check. I heard that right. So creams on your body, cosmetic potential options. So what were some of these crazy things that you were trying and why?
Yeah, because you know what? I wanted, like I said, I wanted the easy way out. So there's these creams that heat up your body and these wraps that you wrap around and you lose 5 to 7 pounds in, 24 hours to 3 days. And then these cosmetic procedures where they put this machine on you. I mean, I must have spent $3,000-4,000 doing that. It was just a lot of, when you think about it, the impact that these procedures and these creams and all this stuff that's outside of us that have an impact on our mind because we think that we're going to lose the weight, we're going to keep it off, we're going to look great for that beach, that summer body. And it's not true because it's just not sustainable. And I realized that through experimenting on my own. And I'm sure so many other women are doing this, right? The butt lifts and all kinds of creams out there, but it doesn't work. And then you're disappointed and then you're frustrated. So it leads you down this horrible loophole and this mindset that, okay, I'm just failing at everything. And it's only because we don't want to take a deeper look and go deeper with what we can really achieve through having some kind of discipline. And that's what we all need sometimes in our lives is to have some discipline and that accountability that I mentioned, and it's for the good. And so we have to recognize that. But yeah, those things were such a waste of money. I can't imagine, the cosmetic industry is huge because of women like myself. And, I'm just feeding it. And I'm so glad that I found RNT to help me stop this addiction.
That's crazy. What did you feel when you looked at yourself in the mirror?
So all my life, this is what I struggled with, because when I looked in the mirror, all I saw was this skinny person. I really did try to think that, oh, yeah, I look good. I look good. But then one day I'm here walking and, I was wearing a crop top and someone said to me, ooh, you need to cover that up. There's fat hanging out. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. Right. I can't believe it. Like that just stuck to me.
When was that?
And this was this not this summer, last summer.
Okay,
So
so
last
recent.
year. Yeah, so it was recent. And I'm like, whatever, but inside, subconsciously, it did affect me, right? In your mind, certain things stick to you. And I always knew that I struggled with eating. Okay. I was only getting 1,000 to 1,200 calories a day for the longest time of my life. And if I was calculated, I was probably getting even less, honestly. And I was always made fun of for not eating enough. And so I didn't understand where the weight was coming from, where the fat was coming from. But every family gathering, they'd be like, oh, she's going to eat like a little mouse or, like a little bird. That's how she eats. And it really did bother me because I'm like, no, guys, I do eat. But all in all, I really wasn't getting enough. And as a child, I used to eat a lot of junk food. And this is how I created these awful eating habits. And so now with RNT, I am and had to rewire my mind to eating certain way to nourish my body because it was actually malnourished. When I look back, I mean, I can't even believe I was living off of Doritos, pizza, candy, soda, and coffee. And so when I wonder why in the world did I have health issues, well, this explains it, right?
What were some of the health issues you struggled with?
Yeah, the health issues that I struggled with for a long time was digestive issues. I had reflux, bloating. I had skin issues. I ended up with rosacea when I would turn 40. I ended up with kidney stones, and twice I ended up in the ER. I hit perimenopause very early on at 42. My hormones were off. My lab work was showing that I was perimenopause, menopause. And I thought that like exercising or doing naturopath or even working with a Ayurvedic person was going to do the trick. It would help me, do it because basically they help with detoxing your body. But and a lot of people do detoxes, but there's a right way of detoxing your body. And I think that is by having the proper nutrition, you know, and one of the things that I would always hear from other people was that you need more protein. Because even when I was exercising with a trainer, he would tell me, Dipal, your muscles are so sticky. You need more protein. And I'm like, sure, okay, I'm a vegetarian. Where do I get protein? Because I don't eat eggs, I don't eat chicken, I don't eat fish. I didn't know where to get it. And I didn't even understand how much I should be eating. So that was the biggest fallback for me. And I didn't realize how much food impacted my body in general, my health, my fitness, everything that I wanted to achieve, my energy, the brain fog that I even had. And for me, like I just gave up. Right? It's easy to just give up. And I said, okay, whatever. I'm just going to do my yoga and make sure my chakras are balanced and I'm good to go. But even then, my hips were tight. I mean, it was bad. My neck and shoulders would hurt. My knees were cracking and hurting. At times, I was bloated. So it was constantly one thing after another. And I really just accepted all of it. And I learned to manage it because I didn't think I could get rid of it, right? You don't think you could fix it. But that's what most people do. And we just accept things the way we are. And these are just common struggles.
How did it impact you as a mom?
for me, it impacted me mentally, I believe. Like all of this, it took a toll on my body, right? The fact that I had all these issues. And then for me, mentally, I kind of just neglected my body at the end. I was like, okay, whatever. It is what it is. I'm just going to try to work through it and take supplements, right? Make sure I take my vitamin D, my magnesium. I mean, I have a whole pantry full of supplements and they weren't helping, especially Ayurvedic supplements that I filled up on as well. And I'm popping pills like it's going out of style. And nothing was helping, Akash, until I started this program, honestly.
That's crazy. What out of interest, why did you wait for your husband to start and go through the process before you joined? What was the difference there? I found that really interesting.
Well, I wanted him to be the guinea pig.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know what? Because he had been working out for a very long time. He was more consistent than I was.
Yeah.
And I think for both of us, food was a problem. Honestly, he wasn't getting enough caloric intake either. And we both when my brother went through it, that was the biggest transformation. And if he can do it, my husband and I were like, okay, well, I could do it too.
Your brother became unrecognizable. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he lost 80 pounds and just watching him and just listening to him. And I felt like he was my hero. And he inspired me so much. And I've got this big smile because I've got so much joy for him. And I'm so proud of him. And because for him, discipline, and it was very difficult. And he was a foodie. Okay. Whereas me, I didn't really care about food. So we were on two different spectrums. And then watching him go through a year and 3-4 months of this transformation, I was like, wow. But then when I watched my husband go through it for 7 months, I was like, well, you know what? This might be something we could do together. I think it would be something fun. We're both in our 40s, late 40s. Let's do something together. And to me, that support, I feel, was really important. That I had somebody by my side, even though I had the support of my cohort, I had the support of the coaches, but it was nice to have a family member that also was going through it with me so that they understand the challenges that do come up during the process.
Amazing. So when you did start the process, how did you find integrating these new lifestyle habits into your life as a mom, with your work, and as a family as well? How did you find implementing steps, nutrition, training, and all the other parts of the RNT program?
Yeah, I thought it would be hard. I honestly thought that I wasn't going to find balance. I wasn't going to find time to do other things, but I really did. It was really easy and I worked around everything, and I work from home. So it made it so much easier to make my meals. And I like to cook fresh meals. And my husband would always be like, well, why don't you just pre-cook for the whole week? I'm like, okay, that's one thing I cannot do. And I will not do. Even now, even though I'm in the investment phase, I will not pre-cook my meals, even for the next day. So for me, it's really important that I have my time cut out for my meals, making them achievable and easy so that it really just takes me 15-20 minutes to cook something up rather than spending an hour. Because Indian food, when I used to make that, it would take me a whole hour to cook every single little thing and, the whole meal prep and all of that. But through the process, I really found that getting my 10K steps, eating my meals, all of that, and training 3 days a week, along with 2 additional days of cardio, was really attainable. And what's nice is that RNT allows you to pick the number of days that you'd be able to work out, and they they constructed the program around that. So they actually help you in what you are capable of in committing. And, I didn't work out in the gym for the first phase. And my coach worked with me and gave me exercises that I could use at home with what I had. And so that was nice because the whole program and these coaches are so they're almost like therapists. That's all I'm going to say. Because they guide you through the mindset that and the challenges that happen and that you go through as you're going through the process. And even after the process of the fat loss, right? Now is the consolidation and then the investment phase. And how do you keep this attainable, what you have just achieved? How do you continue this and get stronger or get to the next goal? So there's a lot of back and forth and a lot of communication between you and the coach. As long as you're willing to do that, right? It has to come from you. So for me, the process has been just amazing and something that I haven't found anywhere else through any other programs that I've done, because a lot of the programs that I've done are like, okay, here's a video, go ahead and do these, but there's no communication between you and a coach. So the process has been just beautiful.
What are some of the mindset blockers that you've had to work on? Because you mentioned that's been a big part of your journey. What are some of the mindset blocks you've had to work around? You've discovered things in your way that you thought, oh, I didn't know this was holding me back.
Yeah. So some of the mindset things that I had to work along with was because I did have downfalls during the program, right? And we all do because we try to go back to our old habits. And so my coach always had to remind me, hey, Dipal, those lattes are always going to be there. You can't have lattes. You're in the fat loss phase. So that reminder, because it's so easy to fall back, but knowing that there's somebody to pick you up was important. Now, for me, guilt came up a lot within the mindset of if I did eat something that wasn't on my plan, there was guilt and there was shame, and I had to understand and go back to the root of that. Like, where is that coming from? Right? I felt like, oh no, now I'm going to be punished because now my weight's going to go up. And then I'd see the scale either the same or it would go up. And then I would just be harder on myself. And that's the thing that we have to, it was hard for me to overcome, is not being so hard on myself and really trying to make this process, this journey. Okay. It's not even a process. I would call it a journey that is going to unfold something magnificent, but you have to go through the nasty emotions that come up, because there is going to be anger and frustration, and it's all going to be towards yourself. And I learned that if I don't make it easy on myself, this is going to be a lot harder. And so there were days that I was like, okay, it's okay. I ate a piece of chocolate. It's okay. Right. And if I had any issues with that, I would let my coach know that, hey, I kind of fell off the bandwagon, and this is how I'm feeling about it. And she would walk me through it. So that was the nice part. And so there's a lot of mindset that goes into it. And of course, it takes you back to a lot of childhood stuff, because we went, Thanksgiving, thank God, goodness, I was not in the fat loss phase, but I was in the consolidation phase. And I'm used to eating breadsticks from this fast food Italian place. Every time we go to Kentucky, we get these breadsticks and they're soaked in butter. And you get the pasta and everything that goes with it. And I didn't do that. I actually ate half a breadstick rather than 3 breadsticks. Like, I'm learning control, right? And learning to control my mind and really being mindful Like I call it, because I think I was doing mindless acts of eating. Because when I got hungry and that fire inside of me said, okay, you're hungry, just grab something. So I would just grab anything that was in the pantry because I didn't want to cook. And I had to learn to cook, Akash. Like, I don't even cook for my family. Okay. Because my in-laws live with us and they love cooking. So I'm like, hey, knock yourself out. But I realized how much was going in my food that I didn't realize. And so
Mm,
being mindful of that, like that's the biggest thing that I learned in this program is what am I putting in my body? And that's what's making me feel the way I am. Like I was having brain fog and I was, feeling low energy every day. By 3 p.m., I would crash. And now I'm still going till 8:30 at night or 9 o'clock. And I'm like, go, 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 go. I feel like the Energizer battery.
amazing. Tell me about the childhood things that came up for you. What bits from your childhood came up during this journey that related to old habits that you've been trying to kick subconsciously or consciously?
From childhood, there were times when my parents, they were working a lot of hours. They weren't always there and they didn't really pay attention to what was going in our body. And my mom wasn't always very, very hard on us that, no, you need to finish everything on your plate or you need to eat your vegetables. It was just whatever. And what I noticed, Akash, was I would always leave food on my plate. Okay. And this was from childhood. And my husband and my father-in-law noticed it after we got married that she always leaves food on her plate. And they even asked me that one time. They're like, you always leave food on your plate. Why? I'm like, I don't know. It was as if I could not eat that last bite. But then after that, I would go to the pantry and eat chocolates. And so what I realized is that through this program, I had this, I don't know if it was like this mindset of I just need to leave food behind. I'm still diving into that a little bit as to why I did that. But now it's like I enjoy my food. Maybe I didn't enjoy it back then. I don't know what it was, but I enjoy my food now. I make it every single day. I enjoy being in the kitchen. I used to think that the kitchen was a useless space and it should never be in a home. Like, honestly, I
Really?
really
Why
felt
is
that
that?
way about because I hated cooking.
Okay.
When as I was growing up and my mom, I felt like and she was working so many hours. It felt like she was just throwing the food together to make sure that we were fed.
Hmm.
And I feel like I picked up on that. And so when I wanted to cook, I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know how to use spices. I didn't know how to use some of the, be creative with food. And ever since I started this program, I'll tell you, you give me a pantry, like the list of things in my pantry that you want me to use, just like you guys have been in my plans. And I can make all kinds of recipes out of it now. I could write a book.
Amazing.
That's definitely changed for me, but that's a childhood memory that has stuck with me that I always left food on my plate. And now I finish every single bite. Heck, I lick the plate now.
That's really interesting because a lot of people from childhood have an experience where they're told to finish the plate, right? It's like you need to finish every little bite. So then it drives them into overeating mode in the future. Yours is a different story where you left a bit and almost resented cooking and
Yeah.
potentially resented food.
Yeah. I mean, I never cared to eat. Like I said, my brother was a foodie. He was on one spectrum, and I was like, I don't care for food. I could just live off of air.
Mm. So this journey, I suspect, has changed the cooking at home.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Now I make my kids eat what I'm eating, and now I'm really pushing them. You could ask my daughter. She's like, "Mom, stop." I'm like, you need to eat. You're not eating well, and I could see that because I don't want her to have the same challenges that I did, even though she eats certain foods, but it's not it's not balanced,
Yeah,
right? And I just want them to have balance at an early age versus what I went through. We don't want our children to go through a lot of what we went through, whether it is, our eating habits or whatever. I just want her to have a good relationship with food.
makes sense. Tell me about why you chose to do a photo shoot. You completed your photo shoot in November, early November,
And
and marked your checkpoint with one. What was the process of booking one? And then let's discuss the journey en route to the checkpoint.
okay, so number one, I love photos. You can ask anyone. I love photos. But for me, because this was such a big goal in my life, like something that I had achieved, such a big achievement, right? And an accomplishment that I really felt that if I do a photo shoot, I just want to go through the process. What is it like? I enjoy going through different scenarios and experiences in my life saying, okay, I did it. And this was just an experience and just going through the photo shoot. Wow. Like that week of the photo shoot was intense. And even the 2 weeks before, because we were really pushed to work the hardest. But for me, it was like doing everything to the T. And then the day of the photo shoot, like I was scared. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna look like everyone else in their photos, and all these things. My muscles are not gonna show, or all these things come up in your mind. But when I got to the pre-photo shoot, I was working out and I'm like, yeah, this is going to be so much fun and I'm going to get through it and it's going to be great. And when I went through the photo shoot, it was just an amazing experience. And the person that I had working with me for the photo shoot was great. And the nice thing was my daughter was there to support me and of course make sure my hair was right. And my husband was there to support me. So we had a whole group of people. So the photo shoot was just a good way of saying, hey, you accomplished something big in your life and now it's time to it's a reminder of reaching the next level and the next goal and continuing the journey.
And how did you feel looking at yourself in the mirror or in the photos on the day of your photo shoot?
Oh, I loved it. I was like, I just want to keep this figure forever. But I know that's you don't want to stay in that because that's not the healthy phase. Now that I'm eating more, I'm feeding my body more. I feel better. And not only that, but now I'm going to see the muscle growth and the definition that I do want to see. I mean, I don't want to be really bulky or anything, but I do want to be able to see some muscle definition and feel strong. So yeah, I mean, I was really proud of what I saw in the mirror.
Amazing. Dipal, how's the physical been the vehicle for you?
Well, I have been able to do so much more, and I have so much more confidence than I ever have, not only in my business, but also my personal life. And I'm happier. I don't have the reflux that I usually do or the bloating after a meal. I feel good in my body. I feel good about myself. I'm satisfied with knowing that I'm on my way to greater well-being and health in so many ways. And so much more mindful of what I'm putting in my body. And I can't stress that enough because I teach all about mindset in my own practice. So it is so, so important for me to have that. And right now, when I talk to my own clients, they're going through different things and they don't understand. They're going through cancer. They have hormonal issues. They have a lot of weight issues. And if I could sign them all up for RNT, I would. But knowing that there are so many illnesses and diseases out there, what if I can prevent illness in my body, then this is the first step to do so. And I realized that age is just a number. So if you have the willpower and ready to make a change, this is where you need to start, because for me, health is my wealth. And I know for a lot of people, that's true.
Amazing. And what's next for Dipal in terms of fitness goals, health goals, well-being goals?
Yeah. So I'm going back to doing some of my yoga on my off days
Nice.
because I had put that aside. And of course, I want to continue this journey, because if I stop now, I feel like I only got through a quarter of it. This is just the beginning. And I can't wait next summer to see how my body looks and how I'm feeling, because I know it's just going to get better and better. And now my calories have increased. They're going to continue to increase. Of course, there's some mindset stuff that is going on there as well, because when you start eating more, you think you're going to gain weight. So I'm having a little bit of challenge there, which I'm overcoming because of past experiences. But then again, it was the lack of exercise and the lack of activity for the body that brings all the fat on. But knowing that I'm doing the work and that I have the support, I know I'm going to be okay. I know I'm in good hands.
Amazing. What almost kept you from joining earlier this year?
You're going to laugh. And I hope my husband's not listening.
Sure, he will be.
But okay, I watched him eat, and he ate the same bland food every single day for 7 months. And I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. So that was one of the things that I was like, is that what I have to do? Like that was in my mind. And so that was one of the things. And then I saw my brother eating so much tofu. I'm like, wow, aren't you getting sick of tofu? And just, I just want to eat what I want to eat. That was the biggest thing for me. Like, I don't want to have to eat tofu every single day and bland food. But when I stepped into the program, which I committed to, I changed the way food should be, even for my husband.
Good.
And now he's eating.
That's what happens when you have a guy who just focuses on execution, and they can't be asked to cook, and they want to eat the same thing every day. That's what happens. I always say to my wife, if you weren't in the house, I'd probably eat like that as well.
Yes. I don't know how you guys do that, but seriously, but though, watching that, I wasn't sure if I wanted to join.
Yeah.
And so, but I changed the perspective when I joined, and I said, nope, we're going to change this up. And every single day, even today, Akash, when I sit down to eat, the very first thing I say is, oh my God, this is so good. Okay. And my husband and my daughter, they're like, oh, how come you didn't say it today if I don't say it? But there's rarely a day that goes by that I do not say that.
Amazing. That's the way it should be done.
It is. And I really, my creative juices have flowed more than they ever have. And that really does impact my business too, because the creative juices are flowing there as well, as much as they are in my body with Brilliant. My food.
So it was literally just the watching your husband and your brother do it was putting you off.
Seriously. Yeah. Oh, wow. Those were two things, right? Like those were the two people that I saw go through the process, and that was putting me off. But also the fact that I did love pizza and my chocolate and my lattes. And I'm like, oh my God, I have this attachment to food. And then the other thing was, well, how are we going to socialize if we don't eat? How the heck are we going to socialize? Like, are we going to go out with our friends, or what are we going to do? And that was kind of difficult because when we did the process, when I started, it was in May, and that's the peak, like summer starting. And so we had party after party. I mean, every weekend, every other weekend, weddings and parties and family gatherings and reunions. But I still worked out. I prepped my food in advance. And I didn't care what other people said, even at the time, as they saw me lose the weight. So there was a lot of different aspects that went into it, but what did keep me from joining, was my attachment to certain foods and not knowing it. Can I let that go? So
I'm really glad that you brought that up, because there's like the surface level, which is like, oh, my husband's eating the same thing every day. And then there's the reality, which is I've got attachments to certain food and I'm scared of letting them go.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you acknowledged that. And I'd love to know how you overcame that attachment, because that, I think, is the crux between holding a lot of people back. It's basically, it's not even the food, it's really the old lifestyle.
It is, exactly. Keeping in mind, like, I would work my way around certain foods because in the program, I was able to change my plan and have like 2 or 3 plans. Okay. So if I'm craving Mexican, I can definitely have that. If I'm craving pizza, I could have that, but it has to work in my plan. And so I would make a cauliflower pizza or an almond meal pizza or a keto pizza that didn't have so many calories. So I really worked my way around the plan and I dedicated a lot of time to it. And my husband would always ask me, well, is that in your plan? And I'm like, if you ask me that one more time. So I made sure that I don't miss out on the things that I do love eating. And I found my ways around it, because even my lattes, like, I was able to have sugar-free syrups. And before I was like, oh, heck no, keep that stuff away from me. And then having almond milk rather than regular milk. So if you want certain foods and you want to enjoy it and not feel like you're missing out, you can work your way around it. And so that's what I did. I'm like, okay, if I can't have the exact same thing, I'm going to find something that's comparable. And that's what we have to do. We do that in life anyway, right?
And how did you do that before you started? So how did you acknowledge that your old lifestyle was now effectively coming to an end of poor nutrition, just eating Doritos, pizzas, and lattes, and the perceived enjoyment you had in that? How did you let go of that and realize, okay, if I want to achieve what I want to achieve, I have to stop this,
even
if it feels scary?
I did, because I was just so committed. So I just set my mindset and I didn't put that stuff in my pantry. I kept it all out of my house. And so my daughter comes home one day and she goes, where's all the junk food? She came home from college and she's like, Mom, where's all the junk food? I'm like, oh, yes, I've done my job. So not keeping it around was a huge help. And then when I went to the grocery store, I didn't even go down those aisles. And even those buy one, get one free Doritos, I just stayed away. I walked away. I literally had to talk myself out of it, as if I was talking to that inner child going, no, Dipal, you are not buying that. So there was a lot of talking to myself happening.
Amazing. What would you say to someone who's at the early stages of their journey right now, or potentially in a position where you were a few months before starting?
I would say follow what you've been given, because what you have been given by your coach is like on a gold platter, not even a silver platter. Okay. Everything is done for you. If you can just execute that and really know what the end goal is, because for you, you came into this space, you signed up, you're here. Now it's just for you to just do it and realize that you're going to get there, because it's easy to fall back saying, oh, I'm not going to get there where that person is, or, have that comparison. But don't do that to yourself, because you're really disempowering what you can actually achieve. Don't limit yourself. Go with what's been given to you, because everything's done for you. Keep doing it and watch every month. Watch your pictures. Like put them side by side because you are changing, your physique is changing, your body is transforming, and notice how you feel because it's going to be different than you did before you started. And if you can just believe in yourself that you can do this, that's going to take you a long way versus just giving up, because some people will come into the program and they will just give up. But I promise you, you're going to get to where you want to be, and right where the coach, where you have discernments or where you have questions, just go to your coach. Please rely on your coach and lean on them. That's what they're there for. So remember, you have the tools. RNT gives you all the tools that you need. Use them.
Amazing. Any final words?
No, you know what? I just want to say thank you. Thank you to you for creating such an amazing, amazing program and helping women and men, but mainly women who are feeling stuck, who don't know how to move forward, who don't know what to eat, how to eat, who think that they're healthy, helping them in so many ways. Your coaches are just you should be so proud of them for everything that they do. And you have an amazing group. And so I want to thank you for everything that you do and creating this space for us.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And you're very welcome.